have given the starters to the patient with massive antepartum hemorrhage, it is time for the main course. That is, now we are going to give her blood and blood products. Now, we all know that we have to replace blood with blood. So, the first and the foremost thing that we would want to give her is definitely RBCs. Or to be precise, PRBCs. Now, this is the person who has gone to bring the PRBCs for this patient. Now, she looks very confused because what to take, what not to take. Now, the most beautiful jellyfish which she sees, she wants to take this. So, this most beautiful jellyfish is a priority, which is crossed match, CM, cross matched blood of the same group. So that is the most beautiful option you can choose for this patient. The second, a little less beautiful choice we can make is uncross matched but group specific. If cross matching is not possible or not available for whatever reasons, then at least the group has to match. We have to give A positive to A positive. If that is also not possible, then the less beautiful option, that is okay. Then if none of them, then we'll give her O negative, as we give to anybody who needs blood, because O negative is the blood which we consider as the universal donor. And definitely when none of these beautiful jellyfishes are available, and if there is a possibility, definitely even with these, if there is a possibility, cell salvage can be considered. So this jellyfish, which is a little different from the others, but does exist, so wherever possible, cell salvage is definitely an option. So now this girl, she's understood that okay, I'm making a choice of these, whichever she's gotten, she is going to the patient who has massive APH. But suddenly she has to go through very rigorous terrains. First, when she's moving out, she finds a frozen land. So the squirrel, when she moves out, she finds this frozen land with an inverted chair. She wanted to sit on the chair, but she could not because it is already inverted. And this frozen land denotes fresh frozen plasma, and this inverted chair denotes the number 4. So 4 fresh frozen plasmas are to be given to this patient along with PRBC. But in what ratio is what we have to know. So this drop of PRBC, it looks like the letter 6. So for 4 fresh frozen plasma, we have to give 6 PRBCs. Okay, so this squirrel was going out with her choice of blood which was available, and she falls into a very, very frozen terrain where she sees a inverted chair. So that is the terrain of the fresh frozen plasma, and now she gets to meet this drop of blood, and she remembers that okay, for 4 fresh frozen plasma she has to give 6 units of PRBC. So 4 frozen and 6 PRBCs is what we have to remember. Now suddenly she was going out of this frozen terrain where this squirrel finds a bin. Somebody has thrown things into the bin in a very pro manner. See, everything is inside the bin, nothing is outside. So she sees this bin and she finds a man sitting on a wheelchair and escorted by an attendant, and they are at a distance more than the bin. The bin was near, and they are at a distance of more than at a greater distance than the bin. And what does this attendant and this patient moving away or at a greater distance from the bin denote? They denote the number 1. This attendant denotes number 1, and this person on the wheelchair looks like the number 5. So at a greater distance of 1.5, and this lady is attendant is very activated. See, eyes are wide open, so activated attendant. Otherwise, if the attendant is sleeping, this man will fall down, so the attendant has to be activated. So what are we trying to say? That is, if the PT or that is the prothrombin time or the activated partial thromboplastin time, they are at a greater distance, that is greater than 1.5 times the normal or the control, then again you have to understand that you have to give 4 FFPs. So 4 FFPs are to be given to a patient along with 6 PRBCs, or in a scenario where the PT plus minus APTT is more than 1.5 times the control. So this is about the blood and about the FFP. Now here we have a plate. Now after doing so much of work, the squirrel gets very hungry. So she has come and she wants to eat, and what she gets to see, that there is something lying on the plate bigger than the plate. Now what is this thing which is lying on the plate? Is a tractor, and the tractor is looking like the number 50. So the plate is less than the tractor, isn't it? The tractor is moving out of the plate. So the plate is less than 50. So a platelet count of less than 50 again calls for transfusion. And this will call for transfusion of platelet. This is nothing to do with the frozen area. So a plate which is less than the tractor, that is 50, calls for platelet transfusion. And last but not the least, this crying child reminds us of cryo. Now when will we give cryo to the patient? Why is this child crying? Because this fiber, this pencil he had one pencil and now it is broken. So he doesn't even have one pencil now. So the child will obviously crying that one pencil, that fiber pencil which he had, this fiber pencil is now broken, so he's lost that one pencil that he had. So cryo we will give when the fiber pencil is not even one. He doesn't even have one pencil, so he's crying. So when the fibrinogen is less than 1, we will give cryoprecipitate. So in nutshell, we have this squirrel who is trying to get all the things that are to be she's the Swiggy boy, and she is trying to figure out what all is to be given to this patient who has massive antepartum hemorrhage. She makes a choice of all the PRVC options that she has in this area, and with her choice she is going to the hospital where she has to come across this frozen land, and here she sees a chair which is inverted. That means fresh frozen plasma, 4 units. is what we are trying to remember from this picture. And when she sees the frozen land, suddenly she moves out and she sees this drop of blood, and she understands that okay, with this frozen plasma she has to give 6 units of the blood that she is carrying, the PRBC. 6 units have to be given, and after this we know that suddenly she gets hungry and she gets a plate which is less than the size of the tractor, which is above the plate, and the tractor is nothing but the number 50, and the platelet is less than the tractor, so means platelet count less than 50,000 is when we have to give platelet transfusion to this patient with massive antepartum hemorrhage. And when are we going to give cryo? We have to remember this crying child who had one fiber pencil and now doesn't even have one fiber pencil. So cryo precipitate has to be given if the fibrinogen level is less than grams per liter. And one more thing that we have to remember about fresh frozen plasma, that we have to give 6 units PRBC. It is red color drop, so 6 unit PRBC we give with 4 fresh frozen plasma, and this prothrombin and this activated attendant is reminding us of the number 1.5, that is 1 is this attendant and 5 is this patient sitting on a wheelchair with a hat. So 1.5 is the value that we have to remember, and if the PT and or APTT is more than 1.5 times the control, then again we have to remember this frozen land with this inverted chair, that is in these both cases we have to give 4 fresh frozen plasma. So in nutshell, please remember, if this is an ice cube, then for 4 frozen fresh frozen plasma, this is the red drop of blood, that means this is PRBC. So a drop looks like 6, so we will give 6 units of PRBC and 2 packs of, see, 2 eyes of this crying child has 2 eyes weeping from the 2 eyes, so 2 packs of cryo can be given along with 4 FFP. So 462. 4 is the FFP, 6 is the PRBC, and 2 eyes of the crying child. So 2 cryo. This is something that we have to by heart. In all probability, it is to be remembered in exams, in viva tables, in the delivery room, in hospital, everywhere. This chart is something we cannot do without by hearting. So please try to remember it. Thank you.